Let's talk about discussion forums a little bit. I want you to notice that on your Moodle course, you have a default forum that's already set up called a news forum. And that really is not a discussion forum. A news forum is a place where you can post news and general announcements. So if I click on news forum here, you'll see that it says general news and announcements, and I can add a new topic here. And let's say I want to tell my students that we have a guest speaker coming. And so I put a topic in, and then I say good news. Good news, we have a new guest speaker next week. So I'm going to post that to the forum. And I've now made an announcement for my students, and they can click on this and read the announcement. My students aren't going to be discussing this usually. This is usually just a place for me to put announcements. And I want you to notice that I also added an HTML block on the right-hand side called Latest News. And this means every time I post something to the news forum, it's going to show up for my students to see. The latest news will pop up for them when they log in. So without even looking in the news forum, they will be able to see that there's a new posting. Okay, but that's really not what we want to talk about this week. We want to talk about setting up discussion forums for our class so that our students can discuss topics of importance in the class. So I'm going to turn my editing on, and then I'll just go ahead and add a discussion forum to my first unit here. So the discussion forums are under Add an Activity, and I click on the drop-down menu and I choose Forum. Okay, let's go ahead and create a standard forum for general use. But I want to show you that you have several options, and we'll come back to these. You could do a simple discussion. Each person adds a post to one discussion, a Q&A forum, a standard forum in blog form, and a standard forum for general use, which is the default. So we'll do that first. And we'll call this our first discussion. Please post your thoughts on this week's readings. You probably will have a better prompt than that, but we'll just use that. And I'm going to scroll down through the settings then. I'm just going to leave everything the same. You'll notice there's a maximum attachment size of 500 kilobytes. If you know you want your students to be adding pictures or something, you might want to set that higher. You can actually block it. I have it set at don't block, and I'm going to leave it that way. But we can have a certain number of posts that we could set, and we can block people so that we don't have someone dominate the conversation if we'd like to do that. I'm going to leave the grades blank. We'll be talking about grading later on in another video. So I'm going to just leave it as not categorized and no ratings right now. I'm going to go to the bottom and I'll do save and display. So there's my post. I can leave it just like that, and now when my students come in, they will see this. Now I actually recommend formatting it so that it stands out a little better than this, but we'll just leave it like that for now. Click on Add a New Discussion Topic. This is what students will do. And I'll put in Mary's thoughts. These are my thoughts. Now notice that down at the bottom there's a choice to send email copies of posts to this forum. If you leave that set at send me email copies, you will get a copy in your email every time somebody posts something. And if you have a class of 30 students, that can be overwhelming. So I almost always set that to I don't want copies. And you just have to do that on the first one. From then on, they'll all be set to no emails. And I'm going to post that to the forum. Okay, so this is what it looks like. A standard general forum for general use just has the prompt up at the top and then individual discussion topics added below. So let's return to our course and you'll see what it looks like. There it is, our first discussion Students click on it and they're right into the discussion. So let's look, I've made some samples here of the other options. So the first was a standard forum, and that's the default. I want you to think carefully about that though, because if you want an ongoing discussion with your students all involved in the same discussion, it's very difficult when you have each one posting a separate topic that you have to go into individually. When I want a real discussion going, I will choose a single simple discussion. So let's click on that. This is what a single simple discussion looks like. I post my initial prompt. It's at the top of the thread, and then my students respond to that, and all of the responses show up in one place. So it looks like this. Another option I have when I'm creating the forum is each person posts one discussion forum. And I spelled that incorrectly. So it looks exactly like the standard forum for general posting, but it works differently in that I can post my response here, and then I'm blocked from posting again. So each person gets to post one time and only one time. Now inside these posts I can respond many times to other people, but I can only post one new discussion topic myself. Okay. Another option. Another option is the sample, this Q&A forum. And in a Q&A forum, it's set up so that once I have read the prompt, I have to post my answer before I see what anyone else has posted. So down here I have a question. I can see I've got a question about capital cities. The question is, what is the capital of Indiana? I can reply with my answer, but I can't see what anybody else answered until my response has been posted. Once I've posted it, everyone else's answers will show up. So that works well if you want students to think through their own ideas before they read what anyone else is thinking. And then the final one that I have here is a sample standard forum displayed like a blog. And when we do it that way, it's similar to a standard forum, but instead of posting individual topics in a little block, it posts the topic and the first response. And so if I want to reply to this topic, I click on discuss this topic, and now all of the responses are here to that topic. So those are the different kinds of discussion forums that you can add to your class. And we'll look a little bit later at how we can set up the grading for those if you want to be grading them online.